Rolex is one of the few brands, if not the only brand, that has a very specific aesthetic. They are sporty, they are active, they are tool watches. That's kind of their main DNA. In the 50s, they came out with the Submariner.
Luxury, prestige, success. That's the glamorous trio that's always trailed behind one name, Rolex. For over a century, Rolex didn't just sell watches, darling. They sold fantasies, pure, glossy, stainless steel dreams dipped in gold and served with a side of legacy. Think about it. When you imagine a Rolex, what flashes in your mind? A billionaire CEO sealing a mega deal? A dazzling movie star posing on a red carpet? Maybe that young hotshot entrepreneur popping champagne on a yacht? To the world, Rolex has never just been a watch. It's a crown, a bold declaration that screams, I made it. But now, here comes the twist. The one nobody, especially Rolex, wants you to talk about. Behind all the glittering boutique windows, the envy-inducing Instagram posts, and that iconic golden crown, there's a secret, a big one. And it stretches thousands of miles away from the snowy calm of Switzerland. We're talking about noisy factory floors, neon-lit alleys, and the real engine of the watch industry, hiding in plain sight all along. Buckle up, because once this truth hits you, that shiny Rolex on your wrist, you might never see it the same way again. Before we dig deeper into this ticking time bomb, you already know what to do. Hit that like, slap subscribe, because trust me, this rabbit hole only gets darker. Now here's the thing, Rolex has been worshipped for its perfection. Every watch is treated like a masterpiece, a marvel, a symbol of what humans can build when precision meets prestige. A timepiece so refined, some cost more than the car you drive. And Rolex, oh, they've marketed that fantasy flawlessly. Swiss made. Just those two words trigger a whole fairy tale in your head. You imagine a snowy cabin nestled in the Swiss Alps. Inside, a wise, gray-haired craftsman hunched under a lamp assembling tiny gears by hand in solemn silence. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? Well, brace yourself, because much of that is fiction. A polished illusion, if you will. Truth bomb. That Rolex on your wrist, the one you dropped thousands, maybe tens of thousands on, it might have seen more of China than Switzerland. In fact, it could have been born and raised in a factory far, far away from the Alps. And once you understand how deep that truth goes, it's game over. Let's step out of snowy Switzerland for a second. Forget the alpine dreams. Instead, welcome to Shenzhen. If you haven't heard of it, you're about to. Shenzhen is China's industrial powerhouse, a buzzing, sprawling beast of a city on the southeast coast. It's got tech, skyscrapers, and more factories than you can count. But more importantly, it's the global capital of watch manufacturing. Here's the dirty little secret luxury brands pray you never find out. 95% of the world's watches come from China. And yes, Shenzhen's at the helm. From budget beaters to timepieces sitting in velvet-lined display cases, they all start here. Since the 1980s, when Hong Kong's factories started shifting across the border, Shenzhen exploded into the watch capital of the world. But don't confuse this with knockoffs and junk. These are high-end parts, bezels, dials, sapphire glass, ceramic crowns, all made with precision care and world-class machinery. Need a case? Done. A stainless steel bracelet polished to perfection? No problem. And get this, all of this is within walking distance. It's like a luxury watch Walmart on steroids. This isn't some conspiracy theory. It's a phenomenon called industrial clustering, and it's real. Watch brands can build an entire timepiece without stepping outside Shenzhen. And yes, that includes Rolex. Now here's where it gets spicy. You see that proud label on your watch? Swiss made? Guess what that actually means? It doesn't mean the watch was handcrafted from scratch in a snowy Swiss cottage. Legally, it just means that at least 60% of the watch's value comes from Switzerland. Spalia, not parts. That's marketing, assembly, R&D, and a whole lot of branding. Actual physical parts? They could be made anywhere. So here's how the magic trick works. A factory in Shenzhen builds nearly everything. The case, the dial, the bracelet, even intricate pieces like bezels and crowns. Then, these parts take a trip to Switzerland where a polished team puts it all together. They tweak the movement, polish the exterior, engrave a crown logo or two, and voila, the watch now qualifies as Swiss made. Legit? Yes. Misleading? You bet. This isn't a crack in the system, it is the system. And now, that once priceless Swiss crown, it's starting to look suspiciously mass-produced. But don't think this secret stayed buried forever. Nope. In 2024, the internet exploded. Grainy videos started leaking. Factory footage from deep inside Shenzhen. Piles of boxes stacked high. Labels showing names we all know. Inside, Rolex style parts, dials, bezels, bracelet links, even internal components meant to beat like a Rolex heart. The videos were damning, and the world, it watched. Forums lit up, watch YouTubers lost their minds, experts broke down frame by frame. First, there was speculation, then straight up panic. And what did Rolex do? Nothing. Not a peep, no press statement, no lawsuits, no carefully crafted PR campaign. Instead, they went silent and slashed prices quietly in select regions. We're talking up to 20% discounts on legendary models, the Submariner, the GMT Master 2, the Oyster Perpetual. No press release, no flashy sale, just silence. But for the insiders, that silence was deafening. Rolex had been pierced, and the crown was slipping. For years, Rolex and their luxury pals built their empires on one key ingredient: exclusivity. It wasn't just a watch, it was a ticket into an elite club. Waiting lists, gray market markups, limited releases. The whole circus was part of the thrill. But when the Shenzhen leaks blew the lid off, when the world started seeing the same parts with different names, that illusion cracked hard. In 2024, Swiss watch exports sank to their lowest in 20 years. And that's excluding the pandemic chaos. Luxury watch forums, once filled with unboxing joy, now turned into war zones of doubt and disappointment. The secondhand market tanked. Rolexes, Cartiers, Homage, all slashing resale prices. Some fell double digits. Private dealers who once boasted year-long waitlists, their shelves started to gather dust. Luxury brands kept their mouths shut. But the panic behind the scenes? Oh, it was real. And while the traditional watch world stumbled, a new empire was rising. The factory-built Homage scene exploded like wildfire. Let's be clear, we're not talking cheap knockoffs, not those $50 0-cent fakes with cartoonish logos and plastic parts. These are high-end timepieces made in the same factories as Rolex, just without the logo. Collectors call them B-grade builds, OEMs. Same materials, same construction, just no crown. And thanks to apps like Telegram, WeChat, and WhatsApp, buyers started bypassing official dealers altogether, connecting straight to the factories. They order what they want. Sapphire glass? Sure. Ceramic bezel? Done. All at a fraction of the cost. Result? A growing army of collectors wearing Rolex-level watches without the Rolex markup. And luxury brands? It can't stop it. Luxury watches have always come with jaw-dropping price tags. That's part of the fantasy, right? But let's break it down. What are you really paying for? Take a $10,000 0-cents Rolex. Industry insiders whisper the real production cost is between $2,500 0-cents to $4,000 0-cents, including labor, materials, and overhead. So, where does the other $6,000 go? Branding, markup, perception. Christopher Ward, a respected British brand, openly says they never charge more than 3 times their production costs. Omega floats around 4x, but Rolex, they're rumored to go 5x or more depending on the model, and still people line up for them. Here's a wild comparison. Apple's profit margin, about 32%. Microsoft, around 38%. Novo Nordisk, the pharma kings behind Ozempic, 39%. But Rolex, their margins quietly beat them all. Why? Because they've built a business not just on steel and gears, but on emotion, on exclusivity, on stories. And it works. At least it used to. Now, let's talk fakes. And no, not the cringy ones you buy off a sketchy site that tick like a wall clock and weigh as much as a keychain. Those fakes are jokes. But these new factory-built homages, different story. Same factories, same materials, same craftsmanship. No joke. In fact, to the untrained eye, and sometimes even the trained ones, they're nearly impossible to tell apart from the real deal. But here's the catch, it's psychological. Even if your homage looks and feels like a Rolex, there's always that little voice in your head whispering, is someone going to call me out? That subtle self-doubt, it eats at you. Because a luxury watch isn't just about looks. It's about confidence. Walking into a room full of collectors, knowing your watch is real, that it earned the crown, gives you a swagger, a silent armor. But with a fake, you carry a secret, a question mark. And that, for many, is worth thousands. Now, let's zoom in on Rolex itself, the crown jewel of secrecy. Unlike LVMH or Richemont, Rolex isn't a public company. They don't report earnings. They don't answer to shareholders. They operate under the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation, a private, nonprofit entity. Sounds charitable, right? Well, not quite. This nonprofit runs one of the most profitable and secretive empires on Earth. They produce over 1 million watches a year. Estimated revenue? Billions. Exact profits? Nobody knows because Rolex doesn't have to tell us. They control everything. The gold foundries, the movement workshops, the polishing stations, top to bottom, they own it all. Vertical integration at its finest. And most opaque. No financial reports, no quarterly earnings calls, just pristine boutiques and airtight silence. And thanks to their foundation status, they enjoy tax benefits most corporations only dream of. Behind the velvet curtains and polished displays, Rolex is a profit machine, running smoother than the movements inside their watches. So what does this all mean for you? Well, here's the bottom line. The luxury watch world has always been built on one thing: illusion. Illusion of rarity, illusion of craftsmanship, illusion of heritage. But peel back the curtain and it's not as magical as it seems. Factories in China, not Switzerland, build many of the key components. Swiss law allows Swiss-made labels even when only a portion of the value comes from within the country. And while the boutique experience feels exclusive, the profit model is massive. You're not just buying steel and timekeeping, you're buying a story. So the next time that shimmering submariner in the glass case catches your eye, ask yourself, are you buying superior engineering or are you buying a carefully constructed myth? Because let's be real, the real luxury isn't always the watch itself. It's knowing the truth and making your own choice. The internet changed everything. Secrets don't stay hidden anymore. The leaks are out. The factories are visible. The shadow markets are thriving. And now the choice is yours. You can buy into the legend or buy into the reality. Either way, time is ticking. If you found this expose eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe for more brutal truths, and keep watching because the luxury world has plenty more skeletons in its walk-in closet, and we're just getting started.